First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for joining in after lunch. You won't sleep in this presentation because we'll be talking about something very, very interesting. So my fellow presenter from BPCL talked about a lot of which can be done using complex methodologies. You rather opened a door for my presentation. You talked about what if we include AI in this kind of prediction. That's what we are bringing on the table. So we can even collaborate and think about how fast we can do these kind of decisions. That used to take maybe 30 days. What about we can do in 30 seconds? What used to take maybe 3 or 4 hours to do for a decision-making parameter to come on board, and we can do it in 5 lakhs. So that is the power of large language models and AI I'll be talking about today. So we are well aware of market volatility these days. There are sanctions, you have spot cargoes that you can buy, you can save money in that. But that decision is very complex. Like we had on previous presentation as well, how complex that is. But what happens is you have to balance the cost with the risk that you can take with your refineries. That's where the power of AI can actually help you decide, once you train it effectively, that this is what we are going to use in our refinery, this is what our refinery is, and these are the crude blends which are available in the market. So we are well aware of quick commerce these days. You order something from a Blinkit, it arrives in 10 minutes at your home. Maybe we want something like that with our crude assistance as well. It has access to all of your data from your refinery. It has access to all of the data from the crude which is there. So what we are saying is, if we want to decide in a couple of minutes whether we can process that particular crude blend, what we have in storage, what kind of profit we'll have, that's the cost of delay that we want to counter. So that's where Crude Trade AI Assistant comes into the picture. We call it Trade AI because market actually govern the rate, and it's kind of a co-pilot. So we are aware of something like a ChatGPT or a Gemini or Microsoft Copilot for that. So that remains on our laptop. We can call it anywhere to write social media post or an email or practically everything. But a chatbot is not the only function of AI. What AI is very good at is it's able to understand the mathematics behind what's happening inside a refinery, what a crude assay is, how it needs to be processed. So it's practically an expert which knows the mathematics and physics behind the things. How we process it and use that AI, it's upon us. So we see it a very big approach in which we can utilize this function. The best part is you don't need to put your data on the internet. What if we bring that AI to your data centers, your servers, your data remains with you, that's your critical proprietary data sets. You don't want it to be exposed to, and that's why oil and gas companies have been hard step of not using something like a ChatGPT for their own proprietary data sets. It's connected to the internet. This is what we want to solve. What if refinery engineers, traders, and planners could think together instantly? When building a system like this, a large language model which understands the physics, mathematics, and even the costing economics of these crudes which are processed in our refineries. So this assistant thinks about all of these people, how to enable these people to decide what to do and what not to do. And whatever they are doing, what kind of risk it pertains. How we are doing that. So when we talk about a large language model, specifically speaking about what we are doing right now for a crude AI system, starts by smart shortlisting. So let's say you are processing 350 crudes. It would know what kind of crude can be processed by your refinery because it has that information with it. Then it will start to explore what the processing functions will do, what kind of outputs you will get, what kind of yields you will get. So how you will get that? You have a lot of refinery data with you, which is historical data. It will be trained on that, and it will run how the refinery operates. We are talking about functions that used to take years to develop. Now we are talking about deployment times that can be done within months, sometimes even couple of weeks. The third aspect is of course, we have to tune the model to understand the mathematics, like Chevron method, Refutat's equation. A lot of non-linear equations are used for precision tuning. So just like GPT, when you use a GPT and ask it to solve a mathematical equation, it actually does the mathematics for you. So why not bring that into the table and ask AI model to do that fine tuning, that mathematical calculations for us? And the fourth step is the most important. It does a confidence check on the historical data and give you a report, a final decision-making report in which you can decide. All of this happens in 30 seconds, by the way. So we call it blending GPS. Why GPS? There are thousands of ways to blend a crude with your current crudes which are available with you. So it moves from that noise to a final decision-making parameter that you can utilize. On the screen, you can see we give some information and spews out a complete cut breakdown of that particular crude, which could be a synthetic blend, which you have never seen before, and it all happens within a minute. But we want it to be without risk. So no risk buying should be there. There are different parameters in which the risk has to be understood. Some parameters are there on the screen. The software actually analyzes more than that. So it's kind of a risk radar for refineries and plants which are actually processing a lot of these crude oils. Another functionality that we have been using, like I mentioned, Blinkit for 10 minutes delivery. Similarly, what if you get a crude oil in which the entire asset data is not available? So just like Truecaller, we get the report that if that's a spam, so spam means a crude oil you cannot process in your refinery, that will be loss function. So this Truecaller ID kind of works in a complex way in which it creates a synthetic blend for you. So for example, you provide these 5 properties, it will know these 5 properties from which region that particular crude is. And it will create a synthetic blend for you, which will have unknown crude properties as well. Like we have not mentioned nickel, vanadium, any other thing apart from these 5 properties. But the accuracy that we are getting right now is beyond 97% across these properties. How it's doing that? A complex algorithms which are powered using large language models. So we are calling it PetroGPT for the ease of understanding. Petroleum industry and GPT just like ChatGPT. So this is the scenario. It's bound to solve. Faster decisions that can happen within 30 seconds. It's not supposed to replace simulation packages, rather augment them. You can even feed the data from all of your simulation packages that we have heard in the last presentation as well, and create multiple scenarios within a day, maybe 1,000 scenarios within a day, so that we are even proactively ready for the next stage when it comes. So why now? First point, we know volatile markets. That's okay. Sustainability, and so when we talk about the economy of our country, we are talking about how much we can save, how much more we can produce, and how fast we can take those decisions. In the first presentation, we talked about how the schedule delays actually cost us more than it actually does. Similarly, we are talking about that's where decision making using AI systems comes into the play. You had a previous image in which we are talking about blending GPS, lot of arrows going here and there. What we are talking about is merging those arrows in which the AI assistant does not decide for us, but guide us into a one confident decision in which we can rely on that particular AI. So this is how it happens. You just define the cuts. This can be automated as well on the refinery functionality, depending on what the data or what are the processing cuts of your refinery is. You define a blend which is already there, the crude oils which are already there. So for example, here in example, Alaska North Slope is 20% by volume, which is already available, because you're never gonna process a pure crude. It will be always be a mix of things. The last step, what you're seeing is a synthetic blend which has created. So we provided 5 properties to this synthetic blend, and we tested this data on ExxonMobil, Equinor, as well as BP crude assays. with different accuracies. And when it was generating those aspects and these cut-by-cut breakdowns for us, we saw that we could consistently generate more than 95% accuracies for all yield predictions. Combined with this, the historical knowledge of any refinery, not only it can make your decisions much faster and accurate, but could bring you more reliance on AI, in which you can explore other areas of using AI, not just this single piece of thing. That is taking care of the refineries, the operational parameters, how it can integrate with your IoT systems, the sensors which are actually attached to it. So to gain more knowledge on this particular aspect, you can scan the left QR code. A simple change I wanted to bring to the industry. As Indians, we don't do many open source projects. So I'm sharing a couple of projects to show you the power of AI, how we can utilize that. So you can scan the right QR code to have some access to some open source projects. This will jot our mind to use large language models and AI systems and bring us back to the race where other countries are way ahead of us. So economy driven through AI is the future. We have seen this with US, China, practically every country. Currently we are lagging behind, but I see an opportunity in which industry like ours, which is the core pillar of our industrial base as well as our economy, can change by using AI systems for all of our processes. Thank you very much.